Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. Coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We have a great show planned for you tonight. We hope all you folks get here and your friends and your neighbors and family can gather around with you. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Earthquakes everywhere, okay? Now, I want to start over south of Crete, Greece, okay? You guys all know where that is, okay? South of Crete, Greece. That's that tourist island south in the southern part of Greece, okay? Down in the Mediterranean, just barely south of Crete, we have an earthquake. That earthquake is a 4.0 moderate earthquake, 43 kilometers deep. Again, this is on the plate edge, the edge of the plate just south of Crete. That edge of the plate comes out of Turkey, the Syria-Turkey border region, and comes down here south of Crete, okay? A 4.0 moderate earthquake. Out in the Mediterranean Sea, the water absorbed the shock waves of this quake. It was only a moderate quake, probably would not have done much damage, but knocked books off of shelves or knickknacks, whatever, or pictures off of walls. Moderate quakes do moderate damage. This thing did nothing because the ocean waters of the Mediterranean absorbed the shock waves. Okay, now this is only what USGS is feeding us, okay? There are earthquakes in Greece, a lot of them. Probably about 22 earthquakes in Greece right now. All over Turkey going to the east, all over Turkey they have a lot of earthquakes, probably 22, 25 earthquakes all over Greece. However, if we go eastbound toward the Turkey Syrian border, we have 60 earthquakes there. Those earthquakes are all aftershocks of the major earthquake that hit there this time last year, February 2023. They suffered a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. The aftershocks are still hitting. Some of them moderate earthquakes, most of them minor 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes. So there are a lot of tremors. 1.0 to 1.9 tremors as well, okay? Now, going over to Iran, okay? We move over eastbound over towards Iran, okay? USGS does not show us any earthquakes there, but there are two 4.0 earthquakes in Iran. Afghanistan has another 4.0 earthquake there, okay? Tajikistan, a 4.5 there, okay? We go northeast. I'm sorry, south, or not even south, northwest, okay? Just south of the Caspian Sea in Iran. A 4.3 earthquake hit there, okay? Again, Tajikistan, Afghanistan area, earthquakes, moderate earthquakes. Going westbound into China, okay, into eastern China. There's another 4.0 near the same area that we've talked about in the past, Nagku, China, Nagku, China. This area has seen 5.0, 5.4 earthquakes. They're still getting aftershocks. Today, this earthquake is a 4.0, 10 kilometers deep, okay? 6.2 miles deep, if you believe that, okay? If you believe that. Now, I'm going to go over to the Indonesia area, eastbound into Indonesia. Going into Eastern Java, okay? Into Eastern Java. We have a 4.5 moderate earthquake there. This earthquake is over in Maumere, M-U-M-E-R-A, Memor, Indonesia. This earthquake is 263 kilometers deep. This is a mid-range deep quake, okay? We told you about these earthquakes. 10 kilometers deep is 6.2 miles. This one is 263 kilometers deep. Mid-range deep earthquake. Deep earthquakes, we say, are 500 to 600 plus kilometers deep. This is a mid-range deep earthquake, okay? This earthquake may spawn probably a 5.0 large earthquake as a result of the depth and the magnitude of this earthquake. It's going to spawn a 5.0 earthquake here. It will probably stay in Indonesia, okay? Now, to the north of there, okay? I hesitate to even go here because USGS does never tell the truth. They don't show all the quakes. Just in Indonesia alone, they have 20 earthquakes today. Going north, okay, a 5.0 earthquake. This is near Bitung, Indonesia, northern Indonesia. A 5.0 earthquake. This earthquake is 46 kilometers deep. A very shallow earthquake for this region. Okay, now, with that said, that means that the plate edge that this thing is, that's causing this earthquake, is right there. Okay, 46 kilometers deep, the edge of the plate. There are 7 different plates here in Southeastern Asia to include over as far eastbound as Samoa and Tonga, going all the way over here, encompassing not just Indonesia and Myanmar in that area, but also going up into the Philippines. I believe the plates actually stretch out to go over into Taiwan. Okay, 7 different plates. Each plate is acting or reacting to other movement within the plates there. One plate is subducting under the other in this region. Deep dives into the earth. The Pacific plate is actually the one that is subducting. The Pacific plate is subducting in this area, okay, along with 6 other tectonic plates. Okay, so that's what's happening. One plate deep diving into the center of the earth after another. 7 different tectonic plates subducting. Okay, this is probably one of the world's biggest subduction zones. Okay, you need to know that. That's why we get earthquakes in this region and why we get so many of them. Okay, that's exactly why we get so many earthquakes in this region. Going eastbound over into Papua New Guinea. Today, we have had another 5.1 earthquake. 5.1 earthquake. This is over just northeast of the spine of this island. Okay? Papua New Guinea, the island that's here, looks like this. Looks almost exactly like this. Over here, okay, this earthquake is right next to shore. This island is very sparsely populated. Okay, that's why. Okay, Brokefish N says so true. Brokefish is a dear friend of mine. He lives in Oregon and talks about the Northern California quakes, the fires in those areas, Northern California, Oregon, and Washington. We appreciate him. After this conversation, this video is over tonight, Brokefish, please give me a call. We need to talk about something that I need to pass on to you, and maybe you can help me with. Anyway, this earthquake, this 5.1 earthquake is troubling. Why? Because the last earthquake was on the spine of that island, the middle spine of the island, up in the mountains of Papua New Guinea. Okay? Again, not too many people live on this island. Very sparsely populated. we shall see what we see here. Okay. I've not heard of anybody getting hurt or damages here. This earthquake struck at 6:04 p.m. Eastern Time, just about an hour and 34 minutes ago. Okay. I have not heard of any damages there yet. All right. Now, I want to go north from Indonesia. Mindanao, Philippines has 3 earthquakes just off the northeast coast of Mindanao, Philippines. USGS is not showing one. Not one. Tactless. They show 4.5s, they show 2.5s, they show 3.0, they even show 1.5 tremors all over the world. Yet they can't tell us about an earthquake in the Philippines. Okay? They just can't. We go north up into the Mariana Trench area, the southern Mariana Trench. We've had moderate earthquakes in this region here, especially around Guam. You may remember me talking about Guam late last week. The Mariana Trench here near Guam is continuing to get hit. Again, this earthquake is just north of Guam, supposedly. Okay? You can't trust USGS. They can't get their directions straight. This one appears to be northwest of Pita Village, Guam. Okay? Again, if you trust the BS. Okay? Going up into the northern Mariana Trench. This is a bigger earthquake. This is a 5.3 earthquake in the volcano islands of Japan. Again, the northern Mariana Trench going up into the the volcano islands. The Ryukyu Islands are south of Japan. This is southeast of Japan. The volcano islands, a large 5.3 earthquake. Nobody felt this quake. It's 10 kilometers deep, a very shallow quake. Okay? It happened out in the ocean waters of the Pacific. We go northwest to the southern island of Japan. We have a 4.4 earthquake here. Okay? This earthquake is literally on the shore of Japan. No joke. They say it's 13 kilometers east-southeast of this town that I can't even pronounce. Okay? Shirakami. Shirakame. Okay? Kaseda Kirishami. Or Shikirishami. Anyway, that's how I think it's pronounced. But this is over in the southern island of Japan. This is a moderate earthquake, 131 kilometers deep. Okay? Just a moderate earthquake. Again, moderate earthquakes shake moderately. They knock pictures and things off of walls. They knock knickknacks and books off of bookcases or shelves. Plates and stuff can rattle around all day long with a moderate earthquake. This is a 4.4. This is getting to be a mid-range moderate earthquake. Okay? Again, they can do moderate damage. Here in Japan, these people are used to feeling quakes. Again, I don't have any reports of damages from this quake. This quake hit after 12 noon today Eastern Time. Okay? USGS is not reporting any other earthquakes in Japan. Northeast of Hokkaido. This is on the earthquake fault. Okay? This is a Kuril Islands earthquake. This is a moderate 4.7. Okay? It's an upper range 4. It could cause damage, but it's out in the ocean waters of the Kuril Islands that belong to Russia. Okay? This is also 50 kilometers deep. Okay? Just I want to describe it as a very shallow earthquake. Over in the northwestern Pacific, nobody felt this earthquake either. The Kuril Islands are unoccupied islands. Okay, they probably have bird populations, probably at best. Right now, going over into Alaska, USGS is not showing any earthquakes in the Aleutian Islands. That's got to be a fallacy. Okay, that just doesn't happen either. Now, I want to report just an earthquake that just happened here. Okay, this is over near Old Ililama volcano, a 2.1 earthquake, a minor 2.1 earthquake. Just north of Old Ililama, another 2.1 earthquake. And the interesting thing is, okay, USGS is reporting this to be over near Anchor Point, okay, out in the water south of Old Ililama volcano. Folks, this is near the volcano. This is near the volcano. And just barely north of it, we have another 1.8, even 2.0 earthquake. Okay, Happy Valley, Alaska, Old Ililama volcano. Okay, yes, there are earthquakes over here in the Cook Inlet here of Alaska. The waterway coming off the North Pacific over here, going up into Alaska, the Cook Inlet. Okay, just minor tremors. Then we go straight north and we come to Sistina, Alaska. Sistina, Alaska, if you can believe that. Okay, a 2.2 minor earthquake. 2.2 minor earthquake. There are very few other earthquakes except over in central Alaska. There seems to be some kind of doing going on underneath the surface in central Alaska. Okay, there's only really, well, one earthquake just happened over in Denali National Park. Okay, Denali National Park just happened. This is a 1.3 tremor. This is over on the northwest side of Mount McKinley. Another larger earthquake there is a 2.0. This is over on the northern slopes of Mount McKinley, a 2.0 earthquake. Okay, central Alaska seems like a bunch of tremors. 1.6 quake tremor east of Fox, Alaska. There's quite a few quakes in this area. Okay, just tremors. I want to go north. Okay, they say go north, young man. Beaver, Alaska, 1.2 tremor. Then we go over to Arctic Village. This is up here in the Arctic Circle. Arctic Village, Alaska, a 1.6 tremor. Then we go even further north. I've reported on earthquakes for a lot of time here along the north shore of Alaska. Okay, this is Katavik, Alaska. USGS says it's 70 kilometers east-southeast of Katavik. They're full of crap. Okay, you can't get much more farther north than this unless you're in the Baltic Sea up here. Or I'm sorry, not the Baltic, the Bering Sea. Okay, this is right there on the northern edge of Alaska, a 2.7 minor earthquake. This is 7.7 kilometers deep. Okay, just barely 2.5 miles deep. Okay, Katavik, Alaska. We're keeping our eyes on Katavik because the day before the Ridgecrest quake, we had a 5.0 large earthquake in Katavik, Alaska. That's why when we have an earthquake in Katavik, Alaska, I want to tell everybody that, hey, we had an earthquake in Katavik, Alaska. Okay? going south to the Pacific Northwest. Over off of Vancouver Island, southern Vancouver Island, they had a 1.4 tremor here. Okay. TSAWWASSEN, Canada. Swasiland, Canada, I think it's pronounced. I think the T is silent. It's Saskatchewan, Canada. TSAWWASSEN, Canada. This is just a 1.4 tremor. It's right there. It's absolutely right there. South of that in Washington, okay, we have a bunch of microquakes, allegedly. Okay, I'm going to say allegedly because I don't believe the BS here. Okay, 0.8 near Vermont, Washington. Okay, 3.8 kilometers deep. South of there, North Sultan, Washington, SULTON, Washington. This is a 0.5 microquake. Then we go down to the Puget Sound, the southern Puget Sound. Here we have a 1.3 tremor near Dash Point, Washington. Dash Point, Washington, the Puget Sound area, kicking off with a minor microquake there. Actually, that one's a 1.3 tremor, I'm sorry. Southwest of there, also in the Puget Sound area, we have another 1.7 tremor over near Shelton, Washington. Shelton, Washington. This, they say, is just barely beneath the surface, 1/4 of a mile deep. Okay? Yet they're also saying it's a minus number, which doesn't make sense. Okay? This is right there near the Puget Sound. Unless the sound rises up into a hillside very suddenly off the water, I don't know how it could be a minus number, meaning above sea level. Above sea level. Then we go down to the southeast, over to Mount Rainier. Good old USGS telling us there is also a minus 0.4 microquake. A microquake, this time 1 mile deep inside Mount Rainier. Okay? How can you have a minus number that means above sea level when it's 1 mile deep inside the volcano? I don't get USGS. But it's not the only quake or tremor that's hit Mount Rainier today. Okay? Just over off the western slope of Mount Rainier, they're recording a 0.2 microquake. But that's not all, folks. There's more. Okay? I'm telling you, we have some small 3.2, 3.5 earthquakes, not just one, but a half dozen small earthquakes at Mount Rainier. And minor tremors are not, well, we have a bunch of minor tremors as well, but also minor earthquakes, 2.0 to 2.9. Okay? Yet they're showing tremors and microquakes here at Mount Rainier. What a deal. Okay? You can't lie about this any more than they already are. We go straight south from Mount Rainier, and they're recording an earthquake that they're saying is a 1.0 tremor. This is allegedly 23 kilometers south-southwest of Packwood, Washington. Folks, there's no way in God's green earth that this could be possible. Okay? This earthquake is northeast of Mount St. Helens. Okay? That's insane. That's insane. Anyway, then we go southeast away from Mount St. Helens. Guess what USGS is reporting again? Okay? An alleged 1.3 tremor explosion. A 1.3 explosion just about 1.5 miles west-southwest of Coloma, Washington. Again, this is another tremor, allegedly, an explosion in a forested area. I visited this a bit earlier. Guess what? USGS can call their explosion anything they want unless they're starting to harvest trees as a result of blowing up TNT in the forest. I doubt they're doing that. Okay? Maybe they can call it an exploding maybe they can call it an exploding tree. Okay? An explosive carnivorous tree. Okay? Maybe they can call it that. Incredible. Mr. Boston sounds like it's BS to me. Oh, I agree. I totally get that. Okay? When I saw where this was, I'm going BS. Well, quite honestly, it shows that this earthquake shows up right next to the Columbia River here. Okay? Just to let you know, in case you haven't figured this out yet, most rivers are on top of earthquake faults. If I'm not mistaken, the Columbia River is right there, right on top of the fault here. So this alleged explosion is probably a result of seismic action. Brokefish says that's in Oregon. USGS says it's near Coloma, Washington. Yeah, go figure. I trust Brokefish N before I would trust anybody else here. He lives in the area. Okay? So Brokefish, they're telling us we've had an explosion right next to a fault zone. Incredible. 3 minutes, no gimmick says he's going to get his girl some microquags tonight. Oh, I would love to see that. Oh, I would love to see that. Oh, yeah. It's incredible. Betty Zoom in Canada says, can't believe how much land is contaminated. Then they ask, where is all this land? Absolutely. Folks, my wife and I have driven around Northern Carolina to the tune of, shall I say, from over in Charlotte to the northeast, all the way over to where we live and around probably within 30 miles of where we live. Guess what? There's plenty of land there, forested land. And yet the elites in this world are telling us, oh, there's no land for anybody to live anymore. It's overpopulated. We can't sustain these people. We can't feed them. We can't give them enough gas for their vehicles. So we have to go green and get electric cars. BS. BS. Vigorous Wolf says he lives in that area. And I said, and he says he lives in this area you speak of in Washington. Okay. Brokefish N says it's in Oregon. Okay. Northern Oregon. Anyway, Brokefish N says, well, it's USGS telling us that, and you can take it or leave it if you don't talk about Oregon. I agree. Way to go, guy. I appreciate you. That's awesome. 30 minutes, no gimmick says he's in the Bronx. It's not a nice place. No. From what I hear, there's no good place in the Bronx. Okay. Richard Smith is reporting a 4.1 over in northern Chile, Atacama, Chile. Not surprising. They also have about 23 earthquakes there today. Earthquakes over in Colombia, earthquakes all over Peru, all kinds of earthquakes in Chile. And yet USGS is showing us 3 earthquakes in South America. What a bunch of crap there. Canadian Patriot One is here in the chat. I appreciate Dave. Thank you for being here. And my buddy Don Patok is also here. Demon Catman is here. God bless you all. God bless you all. Anyway, we appreciate all of you being here. We really do. Hallberry Inn says, I've never interested to anything like what you're presenting. Thank you for all of this info from Utah. Hollyberry, I used to live in Salt Lake City. I have a lot of family in the Salt Lake Valley, and south of there, I have family up in southeastern Idaho as well, all over. So you're surrounded by people from my family. Say hello to the Tyler family for me. You're going to run into them. If you're in Utah, you're going to run into them. I've got a brother way down south in St. George, all over the place. Okay? All over the place. Anyway, guys, that's what's happening. Brokefish is also telling us about the graphs, the seismograms, telling us about earthquakes around Crater Lake in south central Oregon. Oh, yeah. All over the place down there. Every one of the volcanoes is moving. Okay? They're all moving. And yet USGS says nothing about it. Crazy. Totally crazy. Penny Salmon says, Ron makes show interesting. Why I like it. Okay, own about quakes and stuff now. Yes. Yes, we're going to talk about quakes for another few minutes. Then we're going to talk about Iceland. Okay? And we're also going to talk about some space weather from the sun. Okay? Polly's saying, we appreciate your broadcast, Ron, and thank Carolyn for her divine patience. Yes. My wife, Carol, is unreal. Okay? She has more patience than I could ever have. Plus, she won't admit this, but she is treasures of knowledge. She either finds out about something or knows it. Okay, and tells me stuff all the time. Diane Kelman's here. She says, I can't believe you're the only one reporting this information. God bless you. Yeah, I'm the only one. I am the only one. Noah Burley, she doesn't do that game. I think some of my kids do, but unreal. Canadian Patriot One says, I missed the show yesterday. No one called me. I was sitting right next to my phone and my computer waiting for a call from my buddy, our buddy, and he never called me. He was going to Skype me, and we were going to go on. I was going to go and join Dave and our buddy over in southwestern Canada, Barry Prince, and I got no notification that they were even calling. I sat there and waited for the call, and no call, unfortunately. I would have loved to be on Barry Prince's show. I told everybody here about Barry's show, told them how they could go on the show, go and find the show over on the internet. It's a great thing. Margaret's Place asked, do I go live every day? Yes, I do. Between 6 and 7 o'clock. I think today we just went off just barely after 7 p.m. Eastern time. Canadian Patriot says, we called you on Skype. Yeah, Barry said to stay tuned to Skype, and I did. And I got no notification of a call coming from Skype. Sorry, I wish I had been there. It would have been fun. Tornado Nathan news from Nathan Hester from Mississippi is here. He says, sorry he's late. He had been doing video on his YouTube channel as well. He talks a lot about tornadoes on his channel. 3 minutes says, no, not much earthquake activity on the East Coast. Oh, yeah, there is. USGS is just not telling you. Okay. You guys had an earthquake over there in New Jersey today. It was a tremor. It's a 1.7 tremor over there in New Jersey. You had a couple other quakes in New York itself. Just minor earthquakes. Okay. Just minor earthquakes. There was also some earthquake activity in Virginia. There was another earthquake here in northwestern North Carolina, and we've even had seismic activity down in South Carolina and in Georgia. Up and down the entire East Coast, we've had earthquakes. Okay? Canadian Patriot says he called one or twice and Barry 3 times. Wow. I don't know how. I had my phone right here. Unreal. Unreal. Okay, hold on a second. I'm taking care of something here. Okay, I just had to take care of a problem here. I've taken care of it. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Anyway, guys, it's been a day here, literally. I've been watching earthquakes, NCWQ Worldwide News and Disasters Explorer. She and I talked earlier today. I was hoping to talk to my buddy Rob in Arizona. I didn't get a chance to talk to him yet. I wanted to talk to Don Patoka, didn't get a chance to talk to him. Crazy. Mr. Boston says the 1755 Cape Ann earthquake took place off the coast of the British province of Massachusetts Bay, present-day Massachusetts, on November 18th, 1755. The earthquake there was 6.0 to 6.3 earthquake. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. I've seen earthquakes there myself. We had, back about 4 years ago, you guys in Boston had an earthquake that was a 4.5. Before that time, nobody even realized that you guys have a volcano in Boston. Yeah, a volcano in Boston. Now we all know that there's a volcano there. Okay? Incredible. Demon Catman says the Richter scale isn't used anymore. They updated. Yes, they did. Okay? The reason they updated, they want to make sure that nobody talks about the real magnitude of the quake. Now they refer to the magnitude as what the people might feel there. What the people in the area might feel. Go figure. Okay? Rob's here. Rob says he's watching our program. Thanks, Rob. We appreciate you. God bless you, my brother. We appreciate him. Mr. Boston saying Bunker Hill. I don't remember exactly where it was, but there, you guys have a volcano over in Boston. And until that earthquake hit, nobody even realized it. Seismologists started going out there. Some geologists went out there with them, and they found that the earthquake happened at the volcano. Brokefish in, I can't get to Discord. Okay? I'm sorry. Discord is discombobulated me on Discord. I've tried getting in there with my password, with my identifying who they identify me as, and Discord won't even let me in there. I want to talk to you about that. So if you can at some point, either after this broadcast or sometime tomorrow, if you'd call me on the cell phone, I'd appreciate it. Okay? Thanks, brother. Appreciate it very much. Mr. Boston says the Massachusetts has volcanoes that are millions of years old in any event. That's possible. Why do we have that earthquake at a volcano? Inquiring minds want to know. He says Roxbury is the only volcano in Massachusetts. Mount Tom in Holyoke is part of Mount Tom Range. Metacomet Ridge in western Massachusetts dates back at least 200 million years. Isn't that wild? 200 million years. Wow. Roxbury is considered to be in the greater Boston area. Yeah, I've been there once. I was in Boston for a disaster drill about 3 years ago. No, it's been longer than that. I was in Boston in 2015, 2016. So, yeah. Hello, Laura Marie. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you here. Laura Marie is also one of my best friends. We go way back, further than I even want to admit to. Anyway, over in Montana, Lincoln, Montana had a 2.1 earthquake. Going down into Nevada, guess what, guys? Rachel, Nevada has a small swarm of microquakes. Rachel, Nevada has a small swarm of microquakes there. We go south of Rachel, Beatty, Nevada. Beatty, Nevada has a minus 0.7, meaning allegedly above sea level out there in the Nevada desert. That area of Beatty, Nevada is also in a huge volcano field, a huge volcanic field out there in Beatty, Nevada. They're reporting a minus 0.7 there, so supposedly above sea level. Do I believe it? No. Okay. Alamo, Nevada is posting a 3.1 earthquake. Alamo, Nevada. Wild as that is. Okay. Now, over in the area of Nevada, near Indian Springs, Nevada, we also have a 0.7 microquake there. Interesting, isn't it? Now, over in Mina, Tonopah, Nevada, a 2.0 earthquake hit there today. Mina, Tonopah, Nevada. This is right smack dab in the middle of the Adobe volcanic range there. Okay? The Adobe Hills volcanic range. That range stretches from Mina, Tonopah, Nevada, all the way to the northeast over to Area 51. Okay? Volcano craters, volcano cones, all throughout that area. It's a volcano. It's a volcano out there. Okay? Then we go over to central Utah again. I just love going here. Okay? Milford, Utah. We have a small swarm of microquakes and one tremor over in Milford, Utah. This is a Black Rock Desert volcano. That's why they're having earthquakes out there today. Okay? Incredible. Incredible. Then I want to go over and tell you, over in the Salt Lake Valley, actually not even just the Salt Lake Valley, Salt Lake going down into the Provo, Utah County area, and all the way north of the Great Salt Lake, okay? Minor tremors and microquakes all over Utah. All over Utah. USGS not even reporting them. USGS not even reporting them. The only thing that USGS has are the swarms of earthquakes over near Milford, okay? The Black Rock Desert volcano. That's the only thing that they're reporting. It's wild. It's a volcano. It's a volcano there. And yet they're reporting minus 0.3 microquakes allegedly up in the hills around the volcano. Okay? 3.5 kilometers deep. How can that be above sea level? Okay? Also, two others. A 0.1, also 3.4 kilometers deep, and a minus 0.6. that is just less than 2 miles deep. Milford, Utah, the Black Rock Desert Volcano. NCWQ Explorer, please just rest. You can watch this. If something big happens, yes, come on in, but take care of your headache. Take care of yourself. We appreciate you here. Okay? God bless you for that. Thank you for being here. We love you. All of us really love you here. Hurricane Heather. Hurricane Heather, thank you also for being here. We appreciate you and your wonderful family. God bless you. Cowboy Roy Rogers is here. Yay, yippee-yi, okay. Cowboy Roy Rogers is here. Howdy and good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ron and moderators. Thank you, Cowboy. We appreciate you. Cowboy Roy Rogers. We're glad to have him here, too. He's one of my friends. We had Cowboy on our program last year. It was a fun time. We talked about politics. Unreal. We're glad to have all of you here, all of our mods here. We love you. Also, guys, NCWQ Explorer needs some help. She's holding a fundraiser. You can go over to her YouTube channel and you can probably find out about it. I forgot to check before I came on the air, but she's holding a fundraiser. She needs some help. I'm just giving you guys the upside of this so you might help her. Okay? God bless you. God bless you. God bless Hurricane Heather and your family. Heather, you guys are awesome. Anyway, guys, that's over here on the west side of the United States. Okay? Crazy it may seem, that's what's happening. Literally earthquakes and tremors up and down the western side of the United States. No joke. It's crazy. It really is crazy. Over in southwestern Texas. This again is Toya, Texas, Coyanosa, Texas, Midland, Texas. They're getting hit. For the most part, these are just minor tremors. Minor tremors. Yes, occasionally we get a 2.0 over here, but it's just usually minor tremors. This area, southwestern Texas, is just a huge oil field. Okay? Every one of these every one of these tremors and or earthquakes are all oil and gas fracking tremors. Okay? Anywhere where you have this many pumps and jacks all over Texas and you have an earthquake, guess what? Okay? Caused by drilling. Caused by drilling. Brokefish said he sent me an email, back note, say box full. Go over to our email, rltnspdema@gmail.com. I know that box is not full. Okay? The Juno box may be full because I don't know why. They just keep saying it's full. I emptied it out and they say it's full again. Anyway, that's what's happening. Missouri Boat Ride is here saying, I'm always here when I'm not working with my family, but I just don't get to get in chat. Thank you for that. We appreciate you too. He says, we love you, Ron, the EMA family. Laura Marie says she's been in Midland, Texas. Lots of old friends everywhere. Yes, I agree. I have friends all over southwestern Texas, literally. Huge area around southwestern Texas. Over in El Paso, I have friends. Well, up and down the entire eastern or western side of Texas, going along the Gulf of Mexico in Texas. I've got friends from doing disaster drills, just all over. Yeah, I agree. Friends everywhere. Anyway, one other earthquake over here I want to talk about over in Heldon, Oklahoma. Heldon, Oklahoma has been having earthquakes here as of late. Today, a 3.0 earthquake hit there. Small earthquake. A small earthquake. Oil and gas here as well. There's oil and gas pumps all over this area. If an earthquake is in Oklahoma, Kansas, even up into Nebraska, If there's an oil and gas plot, it doesn't necessarily have to have the pumps and jacks on it. But if you see an oil and gas plot in this area, it's just one of many. Okay? If they have an oil and gas plot there, they don't have equipment, it doesn't mean that's not an oil and gas hole in the ground. Guess what it is? They may have tested there, didn't find anything. They took their stuff and went home. Okay? But it's still a hole in the ground. Okay? That hole in the ground is a man-made earthquake fault. And yes, we do get earthquakes on these abandoned holes. Okay? It happens. It happens all the doggone time. I've seen it. Okay? I've seen it. It's insane. Diane Kelman's asking, will the solar eclipse have any effect on the earthquakes? Not necessarily the solar eclipse. Okay? All that means is the moon has come in front of the sun here. My right hand is the sun and the moon's here. The moon comes between the sun and the earth, causing the earth to be eclipsed in the moon's shadow. That's all that means. The moon is eclipsing the sun, blocking off the sun from the earth only for a matter of minutes. Okay? The eclipse itself won't do anything. Okay? Now, there are a lot of people out there, specifically one gentleman. Everyone is passing around his video saying that the people in Ohio are in danger during the solar eclipse. He talks about a sheriff in his county that's preparing for an onslaught of people coming into his county because of the solar eclipse. That could only be happening because his city or county is right in the path of the eclipse. Okay? He said they're expecting a lot of problems, terrorist attacks. Folks, just back in 2017, we had a solar eclipse then. Folks, nothing happened. My family and I went downtown Salt Lake to take in the people and the environment of a lot of people in that area observing the solar eclipse downtown Salt Lake on a great big huge screen. KSL television in Salt Lake City was broadcasting the eclipse on a great big huge TV screen, probably about 40 feet wide and about 15 feet tall. Okay? We saw it. Yes, there were quite a few people there, probably 100 people total. Yes, there were some food trucks, people selling things there. That was fine. I guess KSL said okay. City said okay, but no terrorists. Yes, there's a possibility of anything happening now, especially the dirt bags that came up from the southern border. And the people that the Biden administration is flying in on planes. Yes, they're flying people in on planes. Okay? 50, 60, 70 people at a time on planes, welcoming them in at the airports. You may have seen them being ushered into rooms at the airports by CBP, Customs Border Protection, identifying who they are and saying goodbye. They have no IDs. They left their IDs in Mexico. They came into Mexico from whatever towns and countries they're from. Okay? But they left their IDs in Mexico. We can identify them from Adam. And yet they are allowed to be here. Yes, I believe there are terrorists here in the United States. Over 700 million terrorists have come into this United States either by plane or from across the borders in the last 3 years, because the Biden administration wants them to be here, hoping they'll vote for the Democrat Communist Party in America, keeping the Democrat communists in power for eons. Okay? Mr. Boston says they import them, let them stay in a sports stadium for 30 days and releasing them without being able to work. Yeah. No joke. And yet Diane Kelman says, and we all pay for it, brother. Yes, we do. All of us. We even have some of those people here where I live. I saw them in one of the stores here in Morganton, North Carolina the other day. Mr. Boston says one-party state is what fascism is. You're right. You're absolutely right. But that is what's going on. But in regards to the eclipse, guys, I would just be careful. I would not pass that man's video on to anyone. Okay? I saw it, and the person that sent it to me, I said, this is BS. Okay? It's BS. Number one, I don't think that is going to happen. And if it does, there are a lot of us more than them. Okay? Look out. Look out. If they come and try to harm me and my family, they won't be around much longer. Promise you. And that's what I'm telling everybody. Protect yourselves. Take those steps to protect you and your family and your home. Do that. Do that. I wouldn't trust anyone out there right now, honestly, unless I met them here on my chat. I met them in person and I find them to be an upstanding citizen. Yes, I might trust them then. But I'm not going to show them my home. I'm not going to show them what I have or give them any opportunity to do anything else to me. Not going to happen. Be prepared. Diane says, always be prepared no matter where you are. You're absolutely right. Be prepared and you're going to find yourself with no problems. If there are problems, you'll be able to address those problems when it happens. Okay? It's incredible. It really is incredible. Laura Wyman says, welcome to Canada, fascism. Yes, that's what they're doing. Okay? That's what they're doing. And I heard there's another bill. Canadian Patriot, maybe you can talk to everybody in the chat about this bill that's going before the Parliament there that's going to take away more of the people's rights. I was hoping we could talk about that on the radio last night. You guys may have. Okay? You may have. Mr. Boston says, put on the full armor of God so you may stand in the day. I agree. Put on the full armor of God. Okay? Do it. That will somewhat protect you from what's happening. Prayer will help you. Okay? I've talked about this a lot. A lot. And I'll talk about this more later on after this program. Okay? So we had that earthquake in Hurden, Oklahoma. Great place, huh? Earthquakes all up and down the New Madrid Fault. Wonderful thing. I talked to you guys about that the other day. Earthquakes here in North Carolina. Elgin, South Carolina. If I could show you a seismogram over in Sumter, South Carolina. Sumter is just barely east of Elgin and Lugoff, South Carolina. The seismogram over in Elgin shows all these earthquakes. Today, USGS is telling us about a 2.0 earthquake. Guess what? It's not a 1.9 like they're reporting. It is at least a 2.0 there. Okay. It's at least a 2.0, and it's not the only one there. Okay. It doesn't matter how old I am. Okay. Hurricane Heather says, it don't matter how old Ron is. How old, sir? I love it. Way to go, Heather. That's awesome. That's awesome. Anyway, all around Europe, there's earthquakes. There's a ton of them. All around Europe. USGS, not talking about it. Heaven forbid. USGS is reporting one earthquake over in central Iceland. They're talking about a moderate 4.7 that happened. Well, guess what? It's more than a 4.7 earthquake. I believe this earthquake's probably a 5.0 earthquake. A 5.0 earthquake over here in central Iceland. It's also right next to a volcano. Literally right next to a volcano that's buried underneath a glacier here in Iceland. Okay? I believe that's a 5.0, not a 4.7 like these idiots want us to believe. And yes, I am calling them what I believe they are. Now, you all have been asking me about if the sun and these solar flares, the coronal mass ejections called CMEs, are responsible for the earthquakes here on Earth. They have a part in it. They do have a part in the earthquakes on Earth. The tectonic plates are already moving all around the globe. All the tectonic plates are in motion. The solar flares allow plasma energy that's cast out of the sun to hit the Earth. All of that plasma energy comes out to the Earth and heats up the core of the Earth. It also heats up the plates. I've spoken about this quite a bit lately. Okay? The plasma energy heats up the plates. All that gunk and grime, the dirt, the biological material, the sand, the gravel, the rock, all that biological material down there is turned into a greasy-like substance when that plasma energy hits the Earth. It allows the plates to more freely move like this, causing earthquakes. That does happen. Also, we get geomagnetic energy as a result of planetary alignments. That also plays into this factor. Geomagnetic radiation coming from planetary alignments. We also have cosmic radiation coming from the cosmos out in space. All that radiation penetrating the Earth's atmosphere. It heats up the plates. It heats up the core of the Earth. Yesterday, I read a short article. No, it wasn't even an article. It was online. It was on a YouTube channel's chat where someone asked if the solar energy had anything to do with earthquakes. Some guy from somewhere said, no, absolutely not. Now, I did not want to get in an argument with him on that person's YouTube channel, but I could have. Nobody else said anything. I was about ready to tell him absolutely it does. And that person would have gotten into an argument on my friend's YouTube channel, and I said, no, I'm not going to cause that argument. Okay? But it absolutely, most assuredly does. It heats up the plates, causing them to move more freely, and it also heats up the core of the Earth. Okay? It causes the earthquakes, and it also causes volcanoes to erupt. It helps to heat up the magma for one. Now, You cannot have volcanoes if there are no plate movements. The movement of the plates causes volcanoes. Okay? The movement of the plates underneath the earth, wherever they are, causes the plates to move. Okay? What happens? The magma down there beneath the earth also rises, doesn't it? You can't have a volcano unless there is subduction. One plate moving underneath the other, just like this. Okay? So wherever there's a volcano, you have subduction going on. All across the western United States and even on the East Coast. All over the world. All over the world. Okay? It's happening. For anybody to say that the sun, the coronal mass ejection CMEs don't have anything to do with earthquakes or volcanoes is absolutely out to lunch. And you can tell them I said so. You don't even have to blame it on yourself. Blame it on me. I told you that. And there's proof of it. It's scientifically proven. Okay? Polly's saying it's actually biblical. Yes. I can prove it either way. Okay? Anyway, why am I talking about the sun now? Today, a moderate R2 plasma event happened on the sun or Earth-facing side of the sun today. Okay? In the newly numbered sunspot 3615, there was a plasma ejection from the sun, a coronal mass ejection, R2 moderate ejection, okay, caused a radio blackout event today. It happened at 1943 UTC, okay, which is actually 4 hours ahead of Eastern time. So that plasma ejection happened at 3 p.m. Eastern time today. Okay? Newly numbered sunspot region 3615. You can go over to NOAA's, what's it called? Solar Prediction Center. Okay? You can Google it or DuckDuckGo it or whatever your search engine is. But you can find it. Okay? And they'll talk about this same sunspot. They'll talk about this coronal mass ejection. Okay. It produced an M class 6.7 flare. That R2 ejection caused an M 6.7 moderate solar flare, a CME. Okay? I wanted to tell you about this before I talk about the volcano in Iceland. Okay? Yesterday, there were also some minor CMEs. Okay? Enough said about the sun right now. Okay? I want to talk about Iceland. Prior to yesterday's volcanic eruption in Iceland, 5.6 in Afghanistan just now, a 5.6 large earthquake in Afghanistan. That's going to hurt some people. Okay? It's an upper 5.6 large earthquake. It's going to hurt some people in Afghanistan. Anyway, prior to yesterday's eruption of the Iceland volcano, it's hard to say what stopped the magma from breaking the surface until yesterday. We went from March 3rd, when the last eruption happened, to now, March 17th. Okay? With nothing. There were earthquakes and tremors before that. minor tremors around that area. I showed you that where it was last night. Okay. Yes, I'm going to show you some pictures in a few minutes. But for 2 weeks, scientists were predicting every day that that volcano was going to erupt. It didn't do that. As I explained to you last night, the magma was trying to find its weakest way to the surface. It was working through the holes in the earth. It was working through the magma tunnels, or creating its own magma tunnels to reach the surface over there in Iceland. And it did, finally. There were minor tremors right before that eruption happened. Minor tremors. Okay? So yes, the magma caused those tremors over in Iceland. Now, it's hard to say what stopped the magma from erupting before it did. Nobody knows. A volcanic eruption started on the Reykjanes Peninsula at 8:23 p.m. on Saturday over there in Iceland. Okay? This is the fourth since December. This is the fourth actually since November. The fourth since November. Now, what is going on? Let me explain what's going on in Iceland. I want to give you an update. And this update was from 4 p.m. today. Some of this information you're going to hear from an update with RUV, which is the Iceland television station. Okay, it's one of the Iceland TV stations there. And I'm going to mention some scientists' names, some seismographers and geologists, okay, through this broadcast. They just downgraded to a 5.4 in Afghanistan, go figure. That's what USGS does best, okay? Curly Fry says, did he get his new PC? Yes, I did. And we're having some issues coming on YouTube. We think it's internet issues, but we'll get back to that later, okay? Hi, people says, raise your words, not your voice. It's rain that grows flowers, not thunder, okay? I want you guys to know what's going on, okay? I'm going to put you in timeout, okay? I want people to stay close to what we're talking about here in the chat. Please stay with us here in the chat. I want you to understand what we're talking about. Also, don't use capital letters here in the chat. Yes, you can use them at the beginning of sentences. That's fine. But all caps will get me either kicked off the air or get you kicked off the air. There are YouTube moderators that monitor this channel, and they remove people from my channel. They do it all the time without telling anybody. But using caps will get you removed either by my moderators or myself. Don't do it. And stay with what I'm talking about. Please. Anyway, yesterday's eruption over in Iceland, okay? It started at 8:23 Saturday, their time. The eruption occurred in an area between Stora Skogfell over on the northwestern side of Grindavik, a lot further northwest from Grindavik than the last eruption on March 3rd. The March 3rd eruption was very close to Grindavik, and as a result, 3 homes burned down. And I'm going to tell you why that's not going to happen didn't happen this time, and why it's probably not going to happen again, either in Grindavik or any town or city anywhere. It's not going to happen. They're doing things to protect themselves there. They're building huge earthen walls to protect their cities and towns. They downgraded again to Afghanistan to 5.3. Go figure. Almost a full, or no, not a full, almost a half magnitude downgrade. Okay. A 30% downgrade there. Anyway, this eruption happened on a fault zone where the magma kicked itself up and caused some fissures there. 3.5 kilometers long. Huge fissures caused lava fountains going up to 150 feet above the earth. Okay? That's what happened. Incredible eruption. I was seeing it live. I was paying attention. I saw it live. I pay attention to things like that. Like I said, I'm taking care of someone here that doesn't pay attention. Okay? I just put you in a 24-hour timeout, and I probably should have removed you completely, entirely. In fact, I'm going to do that. If you don't pay attention to what we're saying, you will be removed from this channel. Plain and simple. Okay? That the kind of question you ask has no business even asking me here. Okay? Don't even go there. Okay? You're gone. You won't be back on this channel again. Bye. He's gone. Anyway, this huge fissure system has grown smaller. It's no longer 3.5 kilometers long. It might be 1,000 feet long now. Okay? It's still going. The fountaining has gone way down from what it was. Okay? The eruption on that fissure opened up between Stora Skogfjell, the volcano on the northwest side, and Hagafell on the western or on the eastern side. Stora Skogfjell crater and Hagafell to the east. Okay? Approximately 1.3 million cubic meters of magma flowed from Svartsengi, where the magma chamber was. There was a huge magma chamber down beneath the Svartsengi power plant. Okay? The magma from Svartsengi magma chamber flowed northwest and opened up between Hagafell and Storefjell volcanoes. Incredible. 1.3 million cubic meters of magma. Incredible. This actually happened over here last Saturday, 1 week before this fissure opened up. But again, the magma had to find its way through the crust. A lot of rock and other things were preventing that magma from getting through to the surface. It finally made its trip on Saturday there, Sunday here. Okay? It didn't lead to an immediate eruption last week. Scientists last week are saying it's going to erupt. It's going to erupt. It's going to erupt imminently. It did not do that till this weekend. Okay? Now, it had been previously calculated that around 500,000 cubic meters of magma accumulated under Svartsengi in a 24-hour period. So the total amount of magma there could have been around 9 million cubic meters before yesterday. 900 million cubic meters of magma before yesterday's eruption. The Met Office, which is the meteorological office and the seismological office there in Reykjavik, Iceland, the capital of Iceland, said that in previous events in this area, The magma has flowed when the total amount of magma that has accumulated under Svartsengi was between 8 and 13 million cubic meters of magma. Therefore, there is an increased probability of a new magma flow and eruption when that amount is reached. Now, I want to tell you something. Svartsengi is still rising up. The ground at Svartsengi power plant is still rising up, meaning more magma is coming into the Svartsengi magma chamber. Huge magma chamber there. Even since this volcano erupted yesterday and it's calming down there, more and more magma is pouring into the Svartsengi power plant area. And I'm going to tell you what is happening at Svartsengi now. Give me just a minute here. Okay? They downgraded to 5.3, they upgraded to 5.4. See, the USGS is playing games. Mr. Boston says more pressure. You're right. You're absolutely right, Mr. Boston. More pressure. And I'm going to tell you something that might amaze you in just a few minutes. The magma generally seeks the easiest path to the surface. It's hard to say what prevented the eruption yesterday other than its path did not break through the rock. Breaking through the rock caused those earthquakes to happen right before it erupted. Okay? Umber Zareen says geothermal is still definitely brilliant. If you have that resource available and if you live in an area with tectonic activity, you at least need to utilize its benefits alongside avoiding harm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Polly's saying pray for Iceland. Oh, yes, please do. Anyway, like I said, until Sunday, the magma did not have the pressure or force to break through the surface, and it finally did. Now, when the magma last flowed on March 2nd, it ran a different course, even a different course than the previous eruptions. The Met Office considers this a reason to conduct further research, to deepen their knowledge and everyone's knowledge about the nature of seismology and volcanology in not just this region, but around the world. Okay? They want to try to predict what's going on. And absolutely right, because they're going to save lives by predicting it. When they said it was imminent last week, the earthquakes went down and completely disappeared, as also it did a week before that. All of a sudden yesterday, they suddenly appeared out of nowhere. 8 earthquakes hit this area, showing that the magma is on the move again. It had finally broken free from the rock that was holding it there. Okay? Now, it's not uncommon for a magma flow to end without an eruption. That's what happened between March 2nd and yesterday. Okay? The magma could not get to the surface quick enough. Looking at the history of other eruptions, it's not common or even uncommon for a magma flow to end before the eruption happens. During the last 10 years of the Krafla, Krafla fires in 1975 to 1984, there were 20 magma flows, and only 9 of them ended in an eruption. Prior to yesterday's eruption, magma still accumulated under Svartsengi, and it's still coming in now. Again, the ground under the Svartsengi power plant is rising up. Magma from that magma chamber is pushing it up. Okay? The total volume could have reached 9 million cubic meters per day. Per day. Incredible, huh? Magma volume under Svartsengi continued to increase until yesterday, and it's still increasing today. Okay? Lava came into this flow eruption site. It started with very little notice, only a handful of earthquakes. Like I said, there were 8 earthquakes, and most of those were tremors. Okay? The warning period was less than 20 minutes. Originally, the scientists and geologists over in Iceland said that citizens would probably have up to 30 minutes notice. Yesterday's eruption happened with less than 20 minutes notice, meaning all those earthquakes happened in a very short time period. Okay? Now, this is stated in the assessment from the Icelandic Met Office. Now, workers were finally allowed to go back to the Svartsengi power plant to go to work this afternoon. Why? The Svartsengi power plant and Grindavik were evacuated. The authorities in Grindavik, or the authorities in Iceland, had evacuated the town of Grindavik because they were scared that there may be an eruption in Grindavik. So they evacuated Grindavik. They also evacuated the Svartsengi power plant. Why? Because they had toxic gases that were coming up through the surface of the earth. SO2, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, CO2, both gases that come in abundance from magma beneath the surface. So they evacuated the Svartsengi power plant and Grindavik. They got people out of there. Then the volcano happened. Today, this afternoon, they are allowing the Svartsengi power plant workers back to work because the levels of gases have fallen. They have dissipated. Dangerous pollution is no longer measured around the power plant in Svartsengi, and conditions have become such that it's now safe for staff to return. There was a lot of gas pollution just before noon today, and the power plant had been evacuated prior to that after the gas meters warned that there were high pollution levels, again from SO2 and CO2 in the area. Now, Berna Larsdottir from the utility agency HS.orca, that is the utility agency there in Iceland, HS.orca. Berna says that the workers will soon return to carry out the tasks that they had to leave due to the evacuation. Now, prior to this eruption, after the past 4 eruptions, workers had begun building a huge earthen wall around Grindavik to keep the magma from going back into Grindavik like it had during the previous eruption. Now, there was also an earthen wall built around the Svartsengi power plant and the Blue Lagoon spa. A huge earthen wall 40 feet high. Now, what happened with that earthen wall? Magma approached the Svartsengi power plant, and that earthen wall prevented it from getting into the power plant and also prevented it from getting into the Blue Lagoon. The magma field to the east was huge. And one finger from that magma field came down towards Grindavik. And the earthen wall around Grindavik protected the city from any harm from magma. The magma channel was also built to deflect the magma. So when the earthen wall, the lava hit the earthen wall, it deflected it back down to the southeast. Okay? That's what happened. So they found out that the defensive walls that they built to protect Grindavik, Svartsengi, and the Blue Lagoon spa worked. The fortifications east of Grindavik have proven their worth. The defensive walls that redirected the flow of magma away from the town worked. They're very happy over there. It's obvious to everyone now that had there been no defensive wall built, the lava would have flowed in a different, more unfortunate direction. This is according to the police chief that's there. Olfar Ludvigsson. Olfar Ludvigsson. Ludvig is the first of his last name. The double S-O-N means he is Ludvig's son. Ludvig was his father, and so Olfar is Ludvig's son. Olfar Ludvigsson. He's the commissioner of the police. Okay? The defense wall worked. Now, there is gas pollution that was there over the Svartsengi power plant around the Blue Lagoon. That's because the prevailing winds pushed the outgassing from the lava over towards that area. Now that outgassing has lifted, okay? Number one, the fissures are not putting out enough lava now. The amount of lava has diminished quite remarkably. It's still coming up, but it's not getting as high up into the sky as it was, maybe 25 feet instead of 150 feet high. But there's not much of it. The fissure that had opened up is getting smaller, okay, by the hour. Also now, the winds have shifted from Svartsengi and are now blowing it to the northwest, up towards Reykjavik, Iceland, the capital of Iceland. Okay? Heavy gas pollution before noon today prevented the workers at Svartsengi to return to go to work. The Blue Lagoon spa is still closed until at least Wednesday. Okay? The wind direction is now turned. Okay? It's now blowing up to Reykjavik. Now, it could be noticeable, and although there's great uncertainty about the gas concentration in the atmosphere, it is unlikely that those who are sensitive to pollution will suffer from it. They don't believe there will be a huge amount of pollution. The weather patterns that are causing this shift will change by late tonight. And the effects of that SO2 and CO2 will lessen. Now, if you are a fishing boat that would go to Grindavik, the harbor at Grindavik has been closed. There are some scientists that believe that there could be an eruption in Grindavik Harbor, or underneath the water at any rate, in Grindavik Harbor. They're also concerned about the air pollution from the SO2 and CO2 gases in Grindavik. I believe that Grindavik may be still evacuated. Okay? Grindavik may still be evacuated. There are people there. Okay? Just a second. I'm taking care of a problem. Okay, I eliminated the problem. Jason, please keep your chat to what we're talking about. You just got taken down by one of my mods, Heather. You need to watch what you're doing, guys. Okay? I just took another down, and one of the other ones took another down too. Sorry, guys. I want you to talk about what we're talking about, please. Yeah, one of them was trying to get at me, but okay, I reported him, he's gone. Anyway, the weather patterns have changed, so Reykjavik isn't going to be that bad. Some people believe that there's a volcano that may erupt under Grindavik Harbor. The amount of magma that had accumulated under Grindavik Harbor has almost gone away, but not quite. There's still an accumulation of magma beneath Grindavik Harbor. The amount of magma has decreased, and the land underneath the harbor has subsided. It's called subsidence. It has subsided, gone down, meaning the magma level has gone down under Grindavik Harbor. But they're still keeping boats away from that area until at least the entire eruption has stopped. Okay, so that's happened. They're not allowing any kind of sea craft to land in Grindavik Harbor due to the risk from the gas pollution and the uncertainty regarding the progress of the magma flow. Now, like I said, there was one finger of lava going to the southeast. Okay, it's still headed around that area. It's still headed around that area. That area is what they call, and I know I'm going to butcher this name, Surstrandvegur. Surstrandvegur. Vegur means highway. Vegur means highway or road. Surstrand Road. Okay, the magma has not gotten to the road. I got into a discussion with one of my friends here, and they said that someone said it had crossed the road. This afternoon at 4 o'clock, the authorities in Iceland said it had not crossed the road near Surstrandvegur. That's the road. It had not crossed the road. Okay? Now, given that, there is a slow advance of lava in that area. Okay? Benedict Sigurdsson said that the edge of the lava near the Surstrandvegur, from where he says the advance of lava is very slow. Okay? He said, you can see a few rocks falling out of the lava, but other than that, otherwise it's perfectly calm. Lava came to near the side of the road. Okay? Volcanic activity has been stable in the southernmost part of the fissure area, meaning the lava field. I showed you a picture of that yesterday. The area of lava is estimated to be almost 6 square kilometers. And the advance of the lava has been to the west and also over to the east, towards Grindavik Vegur. Grindavik Vegur. The road to Grindavik. Okay? It's been towards the south Surstrandvegur, the road, and Grindavik Vegur, the road to Grindavik. Okay? Kirsten Jonsdottir, again, Jon is Kristen's father. Jonsdottir classifies her as belonging to Jon, her father. Kristen Jonsdottir, head of the volcanology department at the meteorological office, said, the activity is now confirmed to be to the southernmost part of the fissure, which opened up late on Saturday Iceland time. We can see from our turbulent measurements that the activity has shrunk to the southernmost part, and it seems to be fairly stable there. There are no conclusive figures on the ongoing land rise at Svartsengi. The land is still rising up regardless of how much magma has come out of that magma chamber beneath Svartsengi. The land is still rising. Okay? And it's been coming that way since the eruption started on Saturday in Iceland. In the lava bed next to the Surstrand the roadway, there are lava pools. Although the progress of the lava is slow, lava could break loose from those pools, and this is a primary concern for the people who are there in the area. We're not seeing any very large lava lakes or anything like that, but this is just one of those things that needs to be monitored. The lava is only 200 to 300 meters from the edge of the roadway. 200 to 300 meters from the edge of the lava to Surstrand, the roadway. Okay? There is not much progress since last night. Despite that, it can still reach the road and even out to the sea. If the lava speeds up out of the fissures and flows out. And yes, it could change. The lava could change. Right now, like we reported, the eruption activity is stable. Okay? At 11:45 a.m., the Met Office said that the eruption has been fairly stable since late yesterday evening. It is still erupting in two areas of the fissure in natural vents, several vents. But it appears that the northernmost vents have subsided. The most active jets, where the lava fountaining is occurring, are in the south of the fissure that opened up Saturday night. And from then, there is a lava flow to the south toward Surstrand. Okay? But the latest report is it has not reached the roadway, 200 to 300 meters north of the roadway. This morning, the lava was around 330 meters from the road, and its edge has moved a little further compared to last night. During the observations from last night, there did not appear to be much activity or movement in the lava flow. It slowed down over towards Greenvik, the roadway to Greenvik, on Sunday night. The area of the lava has been estimated to be 5.85 square kilometers based on satellite images taken about 2:56 p.m. today. The area estimated has greater uncertainty than measurements based on aerial photographs. The area estimate has greater uncertainty than measurements based on aerial photographs. Uncertainty. If the weather conditions persist, or even permit, there will be a measurement flight tonight that will be made over the eruption center. Okay? This will probably give more accurate figures on the area and also the volume of lava coming out of the fissure, the remaining fissure. The Met Office is also looking at the gas pollution, like we talked about over at the Svartsengi power plant, the Blue Lagoon, over in Grindavik and Grindavik Harbor, and even over towards Reykjavik. Okay, they're keeping an eye on it. Early yesterday they evacuated the Svartsengi power plant because the gas meters were showing huge concentrations of SO2 sulfur dioxide and CO2 carbon dioxide. Okay, it's that gas pollution in the atmosphere is unlikely to reach Reykjavik due to strong winds. The Met Office reported at 11:45 this morning that activity at the eruption has been fairly steady since yesterday. It is erupting in two areas of the fissure in several vents, but it appears that the northernmost vents have subsided. The most active jet fountains are in the south of the fissure that opened up Saturday evening, Sunday morning. And from them, the lava flow to the south towards Surstrand, the highway, has subsided. This morning, the lava was around 330 meters from the roadway, as I reported. it does not appear that there is much movement of the lava flow. Okay. Let me look here again. Okay. The seismic scientist, Benedict, says that the lava has been quite cold at the edge of the lava flow. That is why the lava flow has not proceeded to the roadway. The lava has gotten very cold because of the atmospheric temperatures. They've had rain and snow in that area. The edge of the lava flow has gotten cold. He talked earlier about those lava pools in the lava bed. They can still break free and flow on. They'll see what happens. They're monitoring this every minute. Benedict says, while the eruption is ongoing, the lava must accumulate somewhere. The flow follows the topography in that area. It's not going up where the volcanoes are. It's going down into the valley areas. Okay. Although the lava flow is slow, experts from the Civil Defense in Iceland have identified a lava pool at the edge of the lava rim near Surstrandvegur. Okay, a lava pool near the edge of the lava flow. Craters have formed as a result of the latest eruption, and they continue to spew out lava. Although the lava flow is slow, experts from the Civil Defense have identified that lava pool. If that lava pool rim breaks loose, the lava flow could then go forward with great speed because all that lava had accumulated in that pool area where that crater is born. At that point, it could reach the road very quickly. And anyone on the road probably would hardly have time to escape. There will be no civil defense flights over the eruptions today. But that does not refer to civilian flights. In fact, drones. They have sent drones over the area since last night. They're monitoring this area very closely. It's not just one drone flight, it's many drone flights. Okay? The eruption, like others, has no impact on aviation in Iceland. I want to repeat this. The eruption, like others, has no impact on the aviation in or around Iceland. The Blue Lagoon Spa is staying closed until at least tomorrow, March 19th, or Wednesday, March 20th. The website of the attraction says that due to volcanic eruption that commenced at Sunnu Kagalar on March 16th, we have evacuated and temporarily closed all of the operational units. Despite these events, all of our facilities remain in good condition and are surrounded by protective barriers designed to safeguard Blue Lagoon's vital infrastructure against potential lava flows. That is a statement from the Blue Lagoon Spa that I obtained earlier this afternoon. It is unlikely that any of the remaining fissures will open in another place during this eruption. It's quieting down. The eruption is winding down. But future eruptions, it's unknown. Magnus Tumi says that we can all learn from the previous eruption at the Reykjanes Peninsula, as well as the Krafla fires some decades earlier, back in the 80s. If we go down into the Earth's crust, it's always the same place that's feeding these eruptions. There are only nuances where the eruption occurs, north or south in Iceland. Essentially, it is always the same fissure that is active. It's always the same craters. The main craters that are east of Slingerfell, which is to the north of this present eruption, Slingerfell and Stora Skogafell to the south. That's where the main craters are, and it's going between those craters, okay? They can't say if this eruption or other eruptions will end soon. We don't know. We don't know. Magnus Toomey also told us that it is not out of the question that this volcanism process can continue like this for a year or two. It's not out of the question. There could be a pause, and then things would pick up again after a certain time period, maybe 1, 2, or 3 years. Magnus says that the history of the Reykjanes Peninsula tells us that we can see periods of 10, 20, or even 30 years where an eruption will happen quite often. Therefore, all the citizens need to prepare for all of these scenarios. Even their own scientists are telling their citizens to prepare. We've been talking about it for 5 years. Jan says, Ron, this lava is headed towards the Blue Lagoon. It can't get in. As I reported from the Blue Lagoon response on their own website, the great big huge earthen walls, 40 feet high, kept the lava from coming into the Blue Lagoon and the Swartsengi power plant. Yes, it was headed almost directly south. There was a finger of lava going almost directly south, and the walls around the Blue Lagoon and the power plant prevented that from happening. The wall areas from the Blue Lagoon, Swartsengi, and now all around that area, all the way up to the north side of Grindavik and down to the south, will not allow the magma to even penetrate that area. It's cut off. It's completely cut off. There's no way it can do that. That was a good question. That's a good question. Just a second, I'm taking care of another problem here. Problem gone. Producer Authentic says, heard about a new X-ray class, M6.7. It's not a new class. There's always been classes of C, D, G, and even M, going up from MR, okay? This was an M class 6.7 flare. Each class has 10 categories. This was a moderate M class 6.7 flare that launched from the sun. That's what happened. The M classes have always been here. We've had M class flares go off almost every week or even every few days. That happens. Okay? Anyway, Magnus is saying that the citizens in Iceland can live with what's going on. But citizens need to prepare, okay, for every kind of scenario. There have not been any catastrophic eruptions where they destroy everything. That hasn't happened. But eruptions are in their very nature dangerous, and they can have an effect on where the lava flows and where it doesn't flow, and somewhere else as well. Lava is thought to be unlikely in this case to even reach the sea. South of Sur Strand Vega Road, there are some farms and ranches. If that magma pool in that created crater bursts loose, possibly then that the lava could flow from that crater out over the road and south. In those cases, those farms would be in danger. I have a feeling that the crews that have been building these huge earthen walls are probably down there also creating a wall to save those homes in that area. Okay? That's what I think is going on. Good night, Ray. Hope you have enjoyed this broadcast so far. We appreciate you being here. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much. Anyway, these fissures open up. They can open up at any time. They really can. We first had the first eruption way down south in the Reykjanes Peninsula. Since then, it has moved north. Only once did it threaten Grindavik, and they stopped it. Now they have stopped any further eruptions from getting anywhere near Grindavik, unless it was a major eruption, one over the 40-foot barrier. But right now, that's not going to happen. Again, the lava has not reached the sea, and it doesn't look like it's going to get there. Now, as with previous eruptions, this eruption that happened yesterday, U.S. time, doesn't appear likely to last for much longer. Sunday was a relatively quiet day from points with the eruption. The lava flows being successfully diverted around defensive walls and not damaging roads, pipelines, or any buildings. The lava has not reached the sea. It's not reached Surstrand Vegor, the roadway, the highway. It doesn't look like it's going to. The lava's very slow rate of advance, together with the eruption diminishing, it suggests that the lava is not going to make it that far. Now, of course, nothing is yet certain with regard to this event that things could change. The Met Office told me today that today will bring more clarity of what they hope will happen. More clarity. We will see what happens. We will see what happens. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about tonight? I want to make sure we answer any questions. Demon Catman said another 4.6 moderate quake hit Hokkaido, Japan. That is the northernmost island of Japan. It had a depth of 42 kilometers, which means it's still fairly shallow. Okay? Any questions, guys? I'm happy to answer any questions you have right now. And I appreciate all your questions. I appreciate you all being here. Anybody from Iceland, we're thankful you're here. We hope your family is safe. We hope that you will find things well with your homes. I know it's hard. It's very hard. I've been in earthquakes myself. We talked about them on this channel. It's hard. Don Patoka just put up here in the chat, for any suggestions, questions, or complaints you might have, please email me here at rltnspdema@gmail.com. Thanks, Don. Love you, brother. Mr. Boston says, pray to God every day and every night. Absolutely. And many times during the day. Marvin Manson says he's learning more about North America and around the world. Yes, we are. We all are learning. Every day is a learning experience, and he says blessings. Absolutely blessings to you and your family as well, and to everybody here. Everybody who listens to this broadcast, we send blessings to you and your family. Any other questions or comments here? Hurricane Heather says also blessing to you, Marvin. Absolutely. Producer Authentic says, are Earth core energizing because of these solar flares? Yes, it is. The core of the Earth and the plates around the Earth are being energized, meaning they're getting heated up. As I explained earlier, when the plates heat up, all that gunk and grime, all that biological material that's held those plates in place, All that stuff turns into a greasy-like substance and allows the plates to more freely move, just like that. That's what happens. Thanks, Cowboy Roy Rogers. He says he's going to upload a video, clues video up a little bit later. Okay. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to read some scriptures to you. I do this every night. I have a spiritual thought, and usually it involves some scriptures, and today it does. This comes from over in the Acts of the Apostles. This is chapter 20, and it starts off with verse 7 and goes through verse 12. And upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them, ready to depart on the morrow, and continues his speech until midnight. And there were many lights in the upper chamber, where they were gathered together. And there sat in a window a certain young man named Eutychus, being fallen into deep sleep. And as Paul was long preaching, he sunk down with sleep, and fell down from the third loft, and was taken up dead. And Paul went down and fell on him, embracing him, and said, Trouble not yourselves, for his life is still in him. When he therefore was come up again, and had broken bread and eaten, and talked a long while, even till the break of day, so he departed. And they brought the young man alive, and were not a little comforted. Paul healed the young man, didn't he? Just like many times that the Savior healed people. These brethren, these apostles had the priesthood of God conveyed upon them from the hands of Jesus Christ himself. The apostles prayed over people and they healed people. These wonderful men of the priesthood of God back in the day. God bless us, that we can still heed the apostles and prophets today. God bless us. May God be with you this day and always. Brothers and sisters, if anything else happens tonight, we will be back on the air to talk about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, have a great night and a better tomorrow. We love you. We'll be back on the air sometime after 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Unless something else happens, we'll come back on the air again, like I said, when the information becomes available. Take care, everyone. God be with you until we meet again. Good night, everybody. Much love.